I'm pleased to be able to present the IATA, at this IATA General Meeting, my second and last report as Chair of the IATA Board of Governors. I'm so honoured to have had the opportunity to support Willie Walsh and the whole IATA team for an extended term as Chair as they help us navigate the unprecedented turbulence of the past 2 years. As we know, this period has witnessed the deliberate shutdown of global aviation connectivity that has its beginnings back in 1914, with the first flight from St. Petersburg to Tampa, the world's first airline, the Petersburg-Tampa airport line. We celebrated the 100-year anniversary of that momentous occasion here in Doha in 2014, and how fitting we are here again, celebrating the rebirth of aviation connectivity as governments around the world open borders and lift travel restrictions. Now, as the world reconnects, the Russian invasion of Ukraine poses a new challenge to the post-Cold War geopolitical order that threatens further destabilization of the globalized world that aviation has helped to create. But the good news is that industry has a proven track record of successfully navigating the effects of wars, pandemics, terrorism, and economic uncertainties. So I'm confident that commercial aviation and our association are prepared to tackle the future, whatever it may bring. Let me now turn to an overview of the matters the board has spent its time considering on behalf of you, the membership, since the 2021 AGM last October in Boston. In our meeting yesterday, the board continued its discussions from the Chair and Audit Committee meetings we've held since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia in February. The focus was on the impact of the invasion on IATA's operations and the various issues of concern to members arising from it. The board appreciates the challenge facing IATA as it continues to navigate the unprecedented number of complex sanctions and countermeasures that have been announced since the invasion, while maintaining the safety and security, of course, of IATA staff and operations in both Russia and Ukraine. This is necessary to support members and other industry participants who continue to operate in these markets, a task that becomes more difficult with each passing day. The board then turned to a review of IATA's assessment of our financial health and the commercial airline industry and its prospects for the rest of the year. The board noted, notwithstanding the challenges brought on by the outbreak of the highly contagious Omicron variant and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the industry recovery is thankfully slightly ahead of what we projected in October 2021, although still in a net loss position. The board acknowledged that all indications are that total passenger volumes will recover their 2019 levels by 2024, with some improving more quickly due to their large domestic markets. However, this assumes no fundamental global geopolitical shifts which alter international trade, investment, and air transport flows. The board also discussed the impact of higher cost inputs, potential recession, and a skill shortage, subject that will be covered in depth by Marie Owens-Thompson, IATA's chief economist, later today. Turning to the COVID-19 industry recovery, the board thanked IATA for its global campaign to encourage governments to remove remaining travel restrictions as part of their overall economic recovery programs. The board noted that 46 of the top 50 countries, representing 77% of 2019 RPKs, are now open to vaccinated travelers without quarantine. Truly great news, with China, the Hong Kong SAR, Chinese Taipei, and Japan being the outliers. The board supported IATA's particular focus on removing mask mandates for aviation, as they are removed in other non-aviation environments. The board expressed concern that ICAO is not moving forcefully enough to provide clear guidance to governments on relaxing the remaining measures and preparing for future pandemics, where shutting borders should not be seen as either a viable or effective option. The board encouraged IATA to use the opportunity of the 41st ICAO Assembly in September this year to push for more aggressive action. Turning now to the critical issue of sustainability, which is particularly important this year given the 41st ICAO Assembly that will take place in September and October, at which environmental sustainability goals are to be discussed for review. The board confirmed its continued strong commitment to the collective targets of achieving net zero carbon by 2050. This includes as well the more near-term target of maintaining the ICAO carbon offsetting and reduction scheme for international aviation, or as we love to shorten it to, CORSIA. The board was briefed on progress towards the IATA target of increasing the readiness of member airlines for the transition to sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF. To that end, the board directed IATA to prepare SAF readiness profiles for each IATA member airline, which includes resource training and supply chain recommendations. The board then discussed in detail the strategy to secure the ICAO Assembly's continued support for the CORSIA 2019 baseline, as well as to set a long-term aspirational goal that is aligned with the industry's net zero commitment by 2050 that we made back in Boston last year. While we know these will not be easy deliberations at the Assembly, consensus is critical if we hope as an industry to continue to be able to grow in an environmentally sustainable manner. The board then turned to a discussion of the work that IATA is undertaking to address challenges facing the IATA industry settlement services on which we have all come to rely. The board discussed the IATA Smart Services Program, or SSP, the objective of which is to explore the development of a fit-for-purpose, flexible, revitalized industry settlement services portfolio that supports airlines that wish to embrace and adapt to the rapid changes that are occurring in passenger and cargo distribution and payment. This work is focused on providing benefits to the industry in the key areas of cost, risk management, portfolio unbundling, operational simplification, flexible settlement services, and the creation of new capabilities. IATA is going to present its recommendations to the board at our meeting in December. On a related front, the board discussed continued industry progress towards true airline retailing, meaning travelers are able to see the value of what is being offered by airlines beyond the base fare and have access to it regardless of whether they are shopping via the airline website or through a travel agent. It also means putting customers in control of their own data by moving to a unique identifier to replace PNRs, e-tickets, EMDs, and all those things that we've got used to. Customers will have a single order number, permitting them to effortlessly consume any service offered by our members. The board agreed that true airline retailing is a major business change that requires a cohesive program across many and varied business domains. This change includes a complete overhaul of the technology infrastructure upon which airline distribution currently rests. The board directed IATA to undertake this effort with the support of the relevant IATA councils under an umbrella program called Unlocking Value Creation by putting the customer first. The board discussed the troubling trend of governments around the world that see the exit from COVID-19 as a starter flag to relaunch costly and potentially counterproductive regulatory initiatives that you heard Willie talk about. The board strongly endorsed the Chair Committee's recommendation that IATA prioritize key advocacy themes over the next 3 years, including environmental sustainability, ensuring airlines' financial stability by fighting taxation and charge increases, and promoting operational efficiency through slot coordination, better use of airspace capacity, and improving ground handling processes. On diversity and gender diversity in particular, Willie noted the importance of IATA's 20 by 2025 initiative, one of IATA's 22 targets we approved back in December. We may all be at different stages of integrating diversity and inclusion into our business objectives, and the focus on gender is often first step to building a holistic diversity and inclusion program. I join Willie in urging any member who has not signed on to this wonderful 20 by 25 commitment to do so by the end of the year, or even better, let's do it right now at this AGM. The time is long past for excuses not to have our industry represent the society that we serve. Turning to safety and security, I'm delighted to report that despite numerous operational challenges, the airline industry improved its safety performance in several key areas in 2021 compared to both 2020 and the 5 years 2017 to 2021. These include reductions in the total number of accidents, the all-accident rate, and the number of fatalities. At the same time, though, we know we must not be complacent. Our record over the last year is not perfect. There have been aviation accidents that compel us to always strive to be safer. The board discussed the ongoing challenges of ensuring the safe carriage of energy storage devices, including lithium batteries, which are often undeclared or misdeclared by shippers. The board approved targets in relation to this issue for IATA to deliver on in 2022 and endorse a wider plan to enhance existing safety measures, including increased penetration of cargo safety controls across the aviation supply chain, the development of supplementary onboard fire protection, a step up in data collection and information sharing, and an advocacy campaign calling on regulators to take action. I look forward to the lithium battery panel tomorrow morning, where this important issue will be discussed further. With regard to security, the board continues to recognize the challenges facing the industry from cyber threats, particularly as our aviation system becomes more progressively interconnected, and the critical importance of maintaining a proactive strategy on cybersecurity. In addition to this identification of advocacy priorities, the board endorsed the recommendations of the Chair Committee to revise the rules and regulations of the IATA's advisory councils to ensure they are better positioned to advise the board and work with IATA management on issues referred to them by the board and the Director General. The board also improved the new membership of each of the 9 advisory councils, which is reviewed every 3 years. Turning finally to the business of IATA, the board reviewed the report of the Audit Committee and approved the financial statements of IATA for 2021 and the appointment of E&Y as auditors for 2022. Both of these items are subject to resolutions that will be put to the membership today for approval. I am pleased to report to all of you that the association continues to enjoy a sound financial position with a debt-free balance sheet and effective internal controls and processes. The board also improved the recommendation of the Chair Committee that the 2023 membership dues be maintained at $12.6 million and that the 2023 membership financial assessment resolution will also be presented to you at the AGM today. That concludes my chair report on the deliberations of the board since our last annual general meeting. I'd like to thank Willie and the IATA team for its great support during my extended term as chair of the IATA Board of Governors. I'm delighted that Mehmet Tevfik Nane, the vice chairperson and managing director of Pegasus Airlines, will succeed me as chair upon the close of this meeting. I'm sure Mehmet will do an outstanding job at a critical time in an important role. Thank you, and I will now turn the floor back to the AGM President.